Hi, and welcome to this webinar. I can see attendees are just logging in now, still ticking up. So we'll just allow people to get in, and we'll just start in a minute or two. All right. It doesn't tick that fast now. So let's just get started. Welcome to this webinar. My name is Unsaved, a product marketing specialist at Gluu. And joining me today is Louise, who you probably know already. We will talk you through some of the latest changes in the application or in the software, focusing on the single page editor and the improved versioning. We aim to be done in about 45 minutes and not the full hour, which is, I think is set in the invite. And if you have any comments or questions or anything as we go along, please write them in the chat, and we will address them either as we go along or at the end of the presentation. The process that we will use as an example today is conducting an internal audit. It's a very straightforward and simple process with only 3 different roles in it and not that many activities. A quality manager initiating a audit, a number of auditors or a single auditor going through some different steps. Then we have the process owner just making sure that the outcome is correct, or the report is right. And in case it isn't, then this process would launch another process, but we'll not even look at that today. So we'll just skip to when all problems have been resolved, or if there weren't any problems, that the audit is closed, and then goes back to the quality manager, who will then implement it and assess the different results. And the 3 cases that we will show today is how users navigate and provide feedback in the new look. We'll also talk about or show you how editors can update the process map and the activities. And finally, we will talk about how to work with revisions and versions in the new setup. We will show it using some pre-recorded videos. So the videos are not live, but we will talk over the videos. So if there are any questions, we'll just pause them. Or if Louise has anything to add, then we can pause as well. And I think that is it for the introduction here. So while I find the first video, Louise, you can maybe also just say welcome or give a little bit of background of why some of these changes have happened or whatever.
Sure. Thank you, Anders. Well, I have personally been awaiting this webinar, our chance to show you this new single page view of our processes in Gluu with great excitement. It's a big change to our main feature, the feature that most users use, of course. And the reason why we changed this area of the platform was that we really wanted to give users a simpler, cleaner experience of the process, both when navigating it and when editing the process. So before you had to jump from page to page, going from the process page to an activity page and back, and from the activity page to the task page, and so on and so forth. But now we've tried to integrate it a bit more so you get it in a single page view. We've had it out in a beta version for quite a while, and the result that you see now is based on the feedback that we've been getting from users playing around with the beta version. So thank you very much to those of you who contributed to that as well. And we've tried to incorporate the best from both worlds, so to say, from the original process view and process editor into this new single page way of approaching it. Anders, it looks like you're ready to just give us the navigating tour of what the new process page looks like now.
Yes, I will do that. And also, please let us know if there are any slides or videos that doesn't show, then just give us a heads up so that we can address that as well. If we look at the process map today, or the process page, in the top right corner, we have some information about the process team, about which version or the labels that are attached, different revisions and versions. We'll get to that at the end of the webinar. And then we have in the process map, we now have two different toolboxes. We have the activity view, where you can filter what you view on the map. You can disable tasks or components if you want that. That now sits inside the process map. And similarly, on the left-hand side, we see that you have the zoom options, or the viewing options, where you can zoom in and out, or fit to the screen, or also you can go full screen. We'll get to that in a second, because that will very often give you a better overview of the entire process. And as you maybe saw, you can also download a view of the process in different formats. So this gives you a great overview of the entire process. You can exit either clicking exit or go up to the breadcrumbs to navigate back to the process map.
Yeah. So Anders, if you don't mind me interrupting
No.
a second, the main new thing here is basically that we just pulled all the information to the forefront for all users. And if you're a user that has editing rights, you see all the revisions and the different versions and all that stuff in the top right corner. But if you're just a regular user, you just see the process. But all the functionality you've been used to so far is still here, like downloading and zooming and all of those old options.
Thank you for clarifying that, especially that about what the user see compared to the ones with the editing rights, what they see. I think that's an important element to add. Oh yeah, and it's a full screen, so you can scroll down instead of jumping between different screens. You can see the different activities, the work instructions, the tasks for the full process going down there. You can click on the comments. The comment box will jump up in the right-hand side. You can add new comments, or you can reply to the ones that are already there. Similarly, with the tasks, if there are any of those, you can click on that, and they will also open up on the right side drawer of the screen. Clicking the individual activities, you will see the coming up in the drawer with the activities and the comments, or the descriptions and the comments. But if you go to a full screen mode or the activity page, you get more detail, you get a better overview, and you can also, on the left-hand side, you can jump straight between activities, so that you do not have to go back to the process, select a new activity. You can skip between them as you want here. That means in order for you to do that, you need to have activated the navigation line, which you can collapse or open on the top right left, or not right left, on the top left of the screen. So anything you would like to add, maybe again, where the changes are, or what the user should be mostly paying most attention to in the new version?
Well, I think the major change here when it comes to activities and how we display them is that we did keep the old way of viewing your activities on the process process page, you know, when you click an activity box, it opens in a drawer. But the better way, in my opinion, that's just for convenience, if you're just clicking through looking for something specific maybe, but if you want to get the full overview of all the content of the process or read through the work instructions, you can now do that by just scrolling, and then you also get comments and tasks right there with your activities. And that's also the major feedback we've been getting since the release from regular users, that they really enjoy having everything just right there. All they have to do is scroll or click the activity in the sidebar navigation on the left, and then they can complete tasks. Or if you're a team leader, you can quickly get an overview of all the active tasks that your team will need to complete without having to dig through a layer of pages to get there.
Thank you for that.
And we just had a question come in, Anders. Sarah is asking how to download the process. Oh, you're quick, Sarah. She said she just found it. But now that you have the video on the screen, we see it, just if someone else missed that as well. Do you see the three little dots in the top left corner of the process diagram? If you click them, you get all the options that you're used to seeing permanently in the old layout. We've hidden them in a collapsible menu so they do not interfere with your screen as you're looking at the process. But they're all still there. So just hover over the three little dots and then you'll see it.
Yeah, and we have another question again, whether you can still order the activities in the sidebar, and I believe that is still possible, right?
It is, and it's a very good question. We actually had that question come in via email before the webinar as well, because I encouraged that from customers if there was anything in particular you wanted us to address in this webinar. Yes, you can absolutely still do that. We just changed the placement a little bit. So what you would have to do now is to turn on edit mode and then activate the wizard at the top of your screen, the one that you also get when you're creating new processes. But we've already taken on board the feedback from users in that area, because I know that our tech team is currently working on making it available without having to go through the wizard as well. So so that will be implemented not too far from now. But you can do it. You just have to use the wizard to rearrange the activities.
Yeah, and we actually also talk a little bit about the wizard in this next section. So we can just pause and just show you there as well. So if we look at the new editor or the editor, if it started, yeah, the big difference is really you just start the edit mode by enabling it in the top right corner of the screen, and you can see then there are some different menus. You have the process settings where you can see who are the owners, does it require approval, how does it fit into your overall process groups or hierarchy. And we also have the, and still thoughts on that. We have the suggestions where you can see all suggestions that your team members have made, and you can reply to that as you usually could. Then we have the change log where you can see, as Louise said, as you have editing rights, the different revisions that are there. And you can also see that there are some backups, should be, because we now do continuous backups, and a revision really appears every time there's been any edits where one has enabled and disabled edit mode, then we'll see a new version coming up. Oh, no, not a version, sorry,
Yeah.
revision.
Sorry, Anders, if you could just pause for a minute, because I
yes.
think that's one of the things we've had a couple of questions rolling in our help desk about since the release. So let's just clarify that as well here. What we do now is that we automatically save all your changes. That's why the save button is gone. You don't see that anymore. But like Anders said, if you choose to hit the edit button and leave edit mode, then that's a clear signal to us that now we definitely save and store as this revision what you have on your screen. The revisions are bundles of changes you made. It doesn't reflect every single little thing, so you don't get a revision if you move one activity box 2 pixels to the right and then move another box 2 pixels to the left. You don't get 2 revisions. We bundle it together a little bit. But like you also said, Anders, if you go to the changelog, you will see all the backups as well that we do continuously, regardless of whether you touch the edit button or not. So here you'll see a higher level of detail in terms of what changes have been logged. And if you want to go back and restore an old version, or if you accidentally closed a tab that you didn't mean to close, and you don't feel like the diagram of your process is looking right, then go take a look at the change log if you don't see a good view that you like in the revisions, because there will be more detail for you there.
Yeah, and as you can see here where I paused the video, you can also see that you can click preview, so that you do not have to try to think back at what time was my process the way it should be. So you can see visually how it looked and what changes are made between the individual backups that it makes, and revisions, of course, as well.
And it's probably also, sorry, Anders, I'm interrupting your flow. It's probably also important to mention here that if you restore the process diagram, you do not interfere with the activities. It's only the process flow. The activities have their own change logs.
Yeah, I will get to that in just a second briefly. But this is actually also where, with the wizard, which is the last point in the menu line, where you can see, well, you can't see it right now. I'll just go forward a little bit. You can also do the changes to the process or start a new process by clicking next. And there you can define the roles, and we have the AI wizard, which will help you with that. But this is also then where you can actually change the order of the activities when we get to those in just a second. And yeah, again, you get comments by the AI wizard and or assistant, and then you can change the order in there. It was a bit fast, but I hope you got it. Then on to what Louise mentioned about the activity pages, that again, you can skip between them, similar to when you just did the navigation. You don't have to press save or anything else as you go along. You can just jump between them on the left hand navigation. We have the settings and the new tasks in the menu. And then we have the change log, which Louise also talked about, where you can see, again, you can see what are the changes to the activities. Depending on what time it was, you can see how did the different sections look at that point. And you can also go to the actual, sorry, that was a bit fast, I guess, here, especially because the video was running while I was talking about something slightly different. But you can also go to the activity page in full screen mode, or the changelog in full screen mode, and to get a better overview of the changes and what it looked like at the time. It may be, if there's a lot of information, like we have this big chart on this one, for instance, then it might be difficult to just see in the right side drawer. Yeah, and again, as I showed or I said, you can jump straight between the activities on the left-hand side. You can add activities. So no, that wasn't yet. Just a second. Yeah, this is just showing that you can jump between these, and then we have the map again. So to make an example, I'll just say you can, of course, add activities as you usually could. Just drag it onto the to the process map, name it something you want. This could be having a audit plan being evaluated or approved. You drag the arrows between the activities to reflect the new flows that you want, and you just click the activity box and open. We can see that. I'll just pause for just a second. You can see on the left-hand side that the new activity that was just created now has also appeared in the list of activities on your left, so that you can jump straight to it, clicking that. And you can then add the description and the task and so on, the description and the work instructions using the, you can get help from the Gluu assistant. But you can, of course, also write it yourself or copy and paste whatever you have already. But for now, I'll just go with the AI created stuff, even though, of course, you should always be very careful about just using AI without any kind of regular thinking on that. And yeah, I think that was it. And then just when you're done with the editing, the left or the top right, you just click the exit or toggle off the edit mode, and then everything is saved in a new revision. And I guess that was it for the editing part.
Yeah, and we also got to see just at the end how you could also add tasks. So now that's also much better connected to the flow of creating your activity, filling in your work instruction, and then adding your tasks, because that's the natural way of working with your process for most of us. And that is now also the natural way in the flow of the new editor. And Fabian is asking a question about whether the AI assistant will also be available in German. Very good question. We are actually going to be releasing some improvements to the AI during spring sometime. And having it in other languages is something that we would also very much like, but currently we're still trying to pick up feedback and take all the learnings we get from seeing the AI applied in all your accounts, how you use it, what questions you ask it, what you prefer that it helps you with, before we move into offering it in different languages as well. But once we take that step, then I would think most languages would be possible, because from my say, I'm not a technical person the way our developers are. Of course, they're the experts, but from my understanding, it's not a big thing to change the language once we settle on how we want to run the AI.
Yeah, I think
so.
A lot
Also, Greenlandic modern would be possible, I think.
Yeah, because I also think that part of most AIs today really is the translation part and the language recognition, speech recognition. So at least from again, I don't know about the technical aspects specifically for Gluu, but at least on many other aspects, you can teach the AI on English data, for instance, and then you can ask the questions in Danish or Greenlandic or whatever it might be, and it will simply translate. Of course, with the challenges of things getting lost in translations and so on.
Mm. And Morten, you're asking a question about the AI in relation to data, and we won't get into that too much in this webinar, but let me just say that we've taken a very cautious approach because we're very mindful of the data that you have in your accounts and our responsibility to protect that. If you want to know more about the AI and how we handle data in relation to it, take a look at our website. The FAQ on our website also has like a data safety IT security section where some of that is mentioned in more detail.
Yeah, and I think when the AI was launched last year, we also had a webinar where Søren talked a bit more about it, and I think he addressed some of these questions as well. So that should be still, or it is still available on the website as well to review that webinar if you want more information specifically on the AI. Though of course, with a new or improved version coming up, there will be some changes, but still very focused, as Louise said, on the security aspects and a cautious approach to it.
And we're very eager to hear what you guys would like to use the AI for when you're working with processes. So please send that feedback our way, because then as we're developing the AI and the areas where you can use it, we will of course prioritize the areas where we get the most customer requests.
Yes. Great. And we already briefly talked about this. I mentioned some of it with the revisions, what they were, and we have the backups as well. But we also have versions, and looking at the as Louise also said, that the user will typically see the latest version and not the individual revision on that. So let's look a little bit about how that looks. Let's see. Oh, it starts there. On the top left, right, you can see the information on the current revision or version. Again, if you have editing rights, you can also see there are different versions. If approvals have been set up, there might also be a version which is pending approval, and there may be a version which is the last published one. And you can also see when the changes were made, who made them, and so forth on this. And you can, when you click each one of them, there aren't that many changes, but then you would be able to see how the process map changes depending on which version or revision that you click on. You can see that live, and also if you would scroll down on the process page, you would see what the descriptions and work instructions, which tasks were there for that specific version or revision, so that you can also always look at what that is.
And I think it's also important to mention here that be mindful that because we now auto save, in order to help you guys not overwrite stuff, when you can see previous revisions, but you cannot edit them, if that makes sense. So if you click a revision and you start editing, or you turn on edit mode, you will automatically be pushed to the latest revision, even though you chose one further down the list. Because in our experience testing this new setup, if we didn't do that, it just caused way too many mistakes, unwanted consequences for the users. So that's the way it works now in your accounts. But it's just nice to know for you guys that you're not editing the revision that you chose, but you can see it if or you can do a full rollback to that revision and then work from there. But just choosing it in the list, clicking on edit mode doesn't get you to editing that particular revision.
Yes. In order then, if you have a revision that you want to make into a version, you just click the make version on the top right. And if the changes aren't that big, you can just say no and it will go back here. But if you think it's okay, or if you want to work with this, again, click the make version, and then this wizard will come up. You will probably want to see the details. If there are any changes that has been made to the process map, you can again compare what they looked before and after, side by side or above each other here. You can go to full screen so that you can see it better if you want that, or you can stay in the drawer here. You can also, for the same, look at the different activities. What do they look like? And when you think it's okay, you just click yes, and you can continue on this, starting by naming the formal version if you want that. And you can also see the change suggestions that colleagues have made. And if you have addressed those in the revision, you can then say, well, these have been implemented, or if they haven't, you can, of course, click not, or don't have to click them. We then go to the approval process, which is typically set up with the right people anyway, and you just send for approval. And then finally, you can see who should be informed from your team about these changes. You can see that the boxes or the change information is it's pre-filled depending on the changes that have actually been made. But you can, of course, edit and add to that if there are anything they should be particularly aware of or anything else. But I will just close this one for now. I think that was it for versions and revisions. And again, Louise, if you have anything to add, or if you already added everything with the fact that you couldn't go back to previous revisions, I think that's it.
Yeah, I think I said everything that I wanted to about versioning. It's versioning and approval. That is something that is more on the advanced side when you're working with processes. So of course, if you have any questions now that we changed it a little bit, how to do it, you just let us know. And we of course have tailored our help center articles as well to the new layout. So if you need guidance on anything, that's also a good place to start, as always.
Yes, and just following this webinar, I don't think I have time to do it today, but by tomorrow you will get a link to the recording, and with that we will also both send you an evaluation form, and we will also send links to the updated help articles that are most relevant for these specific features and improvements that's been made to this. But that does not mean that we are closing down yet. If you have any questions, please feel free to bring them up. If not, we have done like any good TV chef would do, and cheated a little bit. I think that was actually just because Louise had some questions for my videos. So just based on that, we can just.
We've included the questions that we received before the webinar from customers that we've talked to during the week since the release, or week and a half almost. So we will, of course, answer some of those questions, but we see Fabian wrote a question, so why don't we just start with that one, and then we'll tackle the other ones afterwards. Fabian is asking, why can you change work instructions from a versioned process and the employees see them? Let me just see if I understand your question correctly, Fabian. So you're experiencing that work instructions, if you make changes to them on a process that has formal versioning switched on, the changes in the work instructions will show to regular users, even though you haven't published a new version. If that's correct, yeah, thank you for confirming that. Then that is not supposed to happen. So send us the details in the help center, and we'll take a look at it. It might be something to do with the user's rights, but other than that, of course, it shouldn't be visible before a new version has been published. Okay, good. As you're thinking of more questions.
Yeah, I think one of them, the ones that came in before, relates very much to the revision and versioning. So I think we could take that, and that is the feed that was where you would go to before to look at the changes. Is that still there? Is that still relevant, or what can you do there that you can't do in the view that we just went through here?
Yeah, and I think that's I agree. It's a very relevant question, because we had some users that reported back to us they felt like the feed was almost obsolete if they were not doing versioning in the feed anymore, but straight on the process page. But actually, you still do have quite a lot of good information in the feed. Just think of it as the place where we sum up everything that happened on the process level or the activity level. It simply shows you all the comments that were made. It allows you to filter so that you get comments made on any activity shown in one place. It's also where you would still work with improvement suggestions, change the different statuses of the improvement suggestions as you're working with them. So still a lot of good stuff in the feed for you, even though you don't have to do versioning there anymore.
Great. There's another live question come in about the Raki. It no longer says, it says no beta version. When can I filter Raki in the process filter section? Show all processes where I am consulted.
Good question, Sandra. We are definitely in agreement with you and other customers asking for the same thing, that is something that we should implement the next time we work on the RACI models, so that you will be able to filter across the platform, saying, like your example, Sandra, like show me all the processes where I'm the informed party in the RACI matrix, or show me all the processes where I'm the responsible, that kind of thing. So that's definitely on our agenda, but it hasn't been planned in our roadmap yet, so I cannot give you a timeline as of right now for it. But it's on the list.
Yeah, that one maybe last thing about the versioning. If I am if someone asks for approval and I am the owner who should approve it, when will I be informed about that, or how will I be informed about that?
Yeah, Also a good question. We actually didn't change that in the new layout. So if you are a process owner or an editor or someone else that needs to approve a process version before it can go live, you have the option on your overview page to enable the widget that we created for it. And that way you will always have a list of processes awaiting your approval, besides the fact that you, of course, get email notifications about it as well. But the widget is the easiest way to get the overview when you're inside the platform, because it just gives you the full list of all processes awaiting your approval.
Yeah. Then the last few things are really about the layout. One of them being that the object descriptions or object what call it? Yeah, when you click, and maybe I should explain instead. When you click an activity, usually there would be a box about saying what kind of activity it is, just next to the actual activity box. It is now moved further to the right. Is that correct? And are there any reasons for why that is different in this update?
Yeah, I actually forgot to mention that as we were looking at the how to edit in the new layout, because it used to be so that when you clicked any object in the process diagram, you would have a little cogwheel in the bottom left corner, and that would give you all the settings for that object. So it would allow you to, if it's an activity box, you could get, that's where you gave the activity a name, you chose what activity type, that kind of thing. And now we've moved it to the right, and that's to avoid having that overlay on top of your process, because before it would just open and it would be there right on top of all your other objects, and it could be difficult to see the rest of your process then. So it was kind of in the way. That's why we've now moved it to the right. But you can now collapse it to make it very small, not in the way at all. But if you feel like it's too far away from the process that you're working in, so you don't want to be going back and forth across your screen, you can move it. So you just grab it, drag it, and drop it where you want it to be on your screen, which I think is a really nice feature. I like that myself when I'm working with processes, because I get to decide where to place the pop-up now.
Yeah. Then I think the last thing we haven't addressed is also related to the process editor, or maybe even more so when you create a new process, and that is the small T-shirt icon on the left, on the, I believe it is, on the in the menu line. No, not the menu line, in the tool line. What is that about?
Very true. And I'm glad that this new release prompted that question, because that means some of you spotted that. So when you turn on edit mode to edit a process, then the very first little icon that you'll see appear on the very far left of the toolbar on top of the process is a little T-shirt. It's our role shape. And it is one of my favorite things when editing processes, because it makes life so much easier. For instance, what you can do with it, say you ran out of space as you were mapping your process, you need to make your swim lanes longer. What the T-shirt can do for you, instead of you having to do every swim lane manually, extend it to the right to make space for your process, you just extend one of the swim lanes, you click the T-shirt, click apply, and then all the swim lanes are aligned. The same if you have to extend them going down or up, or in any other way reorder them, using the t-shirt just realigns everything automatically. And if you have to add a swim lane in the middle of your process diagram, you can also do it using the t-shirt, because you can drag and drop the swim lanes around. And when you click apply, then we automatically align everything for you. We move the activity boxes and all the arrows so that they're connected correctly. So it's a really good feature in that sense. And you just mentioned, Anders, new processes, because that's something we haven't talked about at all in this webinar. So let that be our final comment for today. When you create a new process, you go through a wizard that's also a little bit different than what you've been used to, but you can refer to our help center. I promise you, we made a good guide for you, an article that you can follow if you have any questions on how to use the new wizard for it.
Yeah, and of course, you are also always welcome to reach out with questions and comments, so that we can continue to make improvements to the tool. We are now at 1:45, so unless there are any last live questions, I think we will just say thank you very much for joining today. As I said, we will send out the recording, or a link to the recording, as well as some links to the relevant help center articles and an evaluation form of today, so that we don't only improve the actual tool, but also the webinars that we set up to reveal the new information we have, or the new features that are available. And I don't know unless you have any last things to say, Louise, then I'll just again thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, guys. Bye.